It's been a rough few weeks for head coach Lincoln Riley. Pneumonia, sleepless nights, firing your defensive coordinator.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC your first listen every day. Whether you're watching this show on YouTube or wherever you're going to download your podcast, remember, it's free, and I appreciate your support. You can show your appreciation. If you're watching on YouTube, become a subscriber. It's quick, it's easy, it's free. When you see that red subscribe button, just click on it. And when you see the thumbs up button, it means a lot to the show. Smash it and hit that bell notification button. That way you won't miss one episode Monday through Friday, as well as any post-game reaction shows. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Following Monday's practice, Lincoln Riley had a chance to explain to the media, tell everybody why he did what he did. Here's why Lincoln Riley finally made a decision. It was time. It was the right time to relieve his defensive coordinator and good friend Alex Grinch of his duties. This is what he said. I watched the game Saturday night, slept on it, thought about it a lot throughout the night. Didn't sleep much. Thought about it a little bit more Sunday morning. Just felt like it was the best interest of our program, both for this year, because we still have a lot to play for. We still have a really cool opportunity in front of us, and for the future that we needed to make the change. Simply weren't making the progress I think that we all expected to make, end quote. So something that, I want to pick up on there in that first, those first words from Coach. Is this move going to be the spark that lights the fire under the defense to make that cool opportunity happen? I think what Coach Riley was alluding to was USC's chance to go up on the road, Eugene, Oregon, beat a really good Ducks team in front of a national TV audience. Which, by the way, that game's going to be played at 7:30 at night. 40 degrees, expecting rain. Should be interesting. But hey, you know what? USC isn't used to playing in cold weather environments, right? Big Ten fan who watches the show. Like I said, that's not going to be a thing when USC makes that move next year. Lincoln Riley also talked about. He said it's tough because these decisions, when you make them, there's no guarantees in this game. We're 2 football snaps from being undefeated in this conference right now. You just never know exactly how these things are going to go. Alex is a great coach, a great person. He's proven that a lot throughout his career. I'm disappointed it didn't work here. I know he is as well, but we have to move on. Again, I want to just kind of break down what Lincoln Riley said bit by bit, because he said a lot. Everyone, I think, would probably agree that Coach Riley is a really smooth talker, smooth operator. Some might say a BS artist. And let's be honest, when you're in sales, and that's what a coach is, they're in sales. That's not necessarily a bad thing that you can sell, snow to an Eskimo. But I'll say this: if USC was 2 snaps away from being undefeated in the Pac-12 conference, I'm missing something. Because it's those types of comments that make people question what is Coach Riley seeing? What's he watching? He speaks with hyperbole. I think USC was much further away than 2 snaps from being undefeated in the Pac-12 conference. He was also asked about his confidence and why the team didn't meet expectations in the general sense. So it wasn't just defense specifically. He said, "It's a tough question. The bottom line is it didn't get to where he, I, or our players or any of us expected, and we all take ownership in that. Listen, that's the nature of the beast here. I certainly am not, and our players, the rest of our staff, are certainly not laying all the blame at Alex. Because the reality is, I have a role in that. The other defensive assistants have a role in that. Our players have a role in that. Our other staff members, everybody has a role in it. So if it goes well, that's great. And if it doesn't go up to expectations, then changes are going to be made. Adjustments are going to be made, and that's just part of the business. So I think I have some thoughts on why. Don't know that this is the appropriate time to jump into all of that when we're getting ready to play a really important football game. But obviously, once the season wraps up and we look forward to preparing for next year and the future, those are questions that we'll have to answer to make sure that we're heading in the right direction. Let me give you the short answer to what Lincoln Riley just said there. It was the scheme and the personnel didn't come together. That's essentially what he said. He was also asked if there was any input from athletic director Jen Cohen on whether, on this decision, or if it was just strictly his decision. Short answer: it was my decision. Now, we know Lincoln Riley loves to explain things. I've been going over, we'll say he filibusters. That answer was a little bit too clear, concise, and to the point. Maybe a little too concise. I'm thinking, yeah, maybe not a long conversation, but maybe a wink and a nod. Do it. Look, I have made the suggestion weeks ago that there was going to become a point where Jen Cohen was going to have to be involved in this, because she has to report to the donors. The people are going to say, hey, you want my money? Make a change. Everybody has a boss. Her real boss is President Carol Folt, but you understand the point I'm making. And look, it's not a secret. Coach Riley and Coach Grinch, they're bros, right? You can hear about, you hear it every time Coach Riley talks about him, or anybody on the staff for that matter. So he was asked about he was asked to talk about the difficulty of, having to make that phone call or calling Alex Grinch into the office. And he said, it sucks. Yep, it sucks. I've been very lucky. I've had great staff members in the time I've been a head coach that have supported me, Alex being one of those. And we won a lot of games, a lot of championships, did a lot of great things together. And it's not easy. He's a good friend. He's a great family. Our kids are close. There ain't nothing easy about it. You can't, as much as you wish you could. It's hard to separate professional from this. I think basic human feelings about one another and our families. I knew it was a decision that was the right decision, and at this time and point, and it certainly didn't make it easy. But I am that committed, and we're all that committed to playing great defense here. And whatever it takes to get that done, that's what we're gonna do. End quote. Here's what I'm gonna add to that. This is my own little editorial comment. I believe that the personal losses in his life of Coach Dave Nichols and Coach Mike Leach, had an impact on how Coach Lincoln Riley, the person, approaches his life choices. We heard him talk about the NFL lifestyle. How at the end of the season there's no recruiting. He kind of alluded to retiring, by the time he's 50, enjoying what life has to offer. So I understand that answer that I just read to regarding Alex Grinch. And that's what I was alluding to on yesterday's episode of Locked on USC. Go back and check that out. It was a really good show. About, look, everybody knew it had to happen. Everybody wanted Alex Grinch off the team, done coordinating USC's defense. But that doesn't mean you need to dance on his grave. You can celebrate the fact that USC is moving forward, but I think Lincoln Riley said it very eloquently. It's, these are real people. And yes, these real people are getting paid very well. That's not your comeback answer, folks. People have emotions no matter how much money they're making. I'm going to say. So again, he was also asked, what he learned through, what it takes to having a good defense. He said, yeah, I know what it looks like. I know what the change can look like. And ironically, Alex was a huge part of that. I watched the defense when we took over at OU. That was not the strength of the program. And then I watched in a matter of several months, it became the strength of the program. And the chief reason why the last 3 years, the majority of those wins came on the heels of how well we played defensively, end quote. He actually went on to give a much longer answer that was, again, I use the term filibustering. But again, I'm not sure what great defense he saw while he was the head coach at Oklahoma with Grinch. No bowl wins, no playoff wins, right? The last thing he said before he stepped away before he walked away from the media after practice Monday, he ended the question and answer with this. I have complete conviction we will play great defense here. It's going to happen. There's not a reason in the world why it can't. We'll continue to take the steps we have to do it, and we're going to be very aggressive that way. I think now that his former defensive coordinator is no longer a part of the equation, there's a better chance for that. But again, those words, I love the fact that he believes in everything he does and he has the conviction that it's going to happen. You talk the talk. You got to walk the walk now. No more words. We'll see. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. It's that simple. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including the point spreads, the player prop bets. You like those over-unders? Get in on FanDuel. They've got a whole bunch of other ways you can bet as well. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. The college football season is here. It's almost over, by the way. And this season, Locked On is kicking up our coverage. Each Friday, Locked On will go live from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern on every Locked On College YouTube channel. Locked On College Football Live will cover the college football playoff implications, the conference rivalry games, and they're going to go in depth like only Locked On can, including insight and analysis from our stable of Locked On College hosts, covering their team every day. Find Locked On College Football Live every Friday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern on any Locked On College YouTube channel. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm going to ask a hypothetical. What if USC had beaten the Huskies this past Saturday? Now, beyond the obvious, USC would be 8-2. They would be 7-3. And they would be in a much better, and they'd be in a great position to make the conference championship game. And look, if miracles do happen, they would have a better chance to win in Eugene this coming Saturday. Firing a coach is never easy. I'm going to emphasize that. But what if the Trojans had, again, what if they had beaten the Huskies? Let's say the score was 52-45. Would Alex Grinch still have his job at USC? I think the answer is probably, yeah, he would. And I'm not saying he would because he deserved to keep his job. I think everyone agrees he probably didn't deserve to keep it after the end of last season, especially the loss to Tulane. He would have it because USC, again, USC would still be in control of its conference championship destiny. And let's be real honest. Who fires a coach after you win a game over a top 5 ranked team? You don't. I think, well, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say Lincoln Riley was struggling with the decision to relieve Alex Grinch of his duties after the Utah game, even after the Cal win on the road. So you think he's going to do that after a win at home against a top 5 team? Come on now. No, wouldn't happen. Here's the bigger issue. With or without the hypothetical win, the Trojans, their defense would still be pathetic, unprepared, and really uninspiring and really difficult to watch. And it would be another week of everybody kind of going through the motions, especially the guys on the team, and hoping that they could put it together. But even with all that, even with the win against Washington, I still think they would be a 2-touchdown underdog on the road against Oregon this Saturday. A Trojans win over the Huskies, had it happened, all it would have done was delay the inevitable just a little bit longer, like maybe another week. And I'm not even sure that it would have been good for the team's morale. Look, winning solves a lot of problems. However, when you're only winning by 1 point and you're scoring 50 points, that means there's problems. Big problems. Had the Trojans beat the Huskies, there would have I can think of 2 positives. And I'm sure there's more out there, but the first 2 that came to mind, 1, USC would not have a 2-game home losing streak. Yeah, that's happened. And second, I alluded to it, I think USC fans would be feeling a little bit better about their chances up in Eugene this Saturday. That's about it. Those would be the 2 positives. And I mentioned USC would be 8-2. But again, they didn't. They're not. And USC is a 14-point underdog going up against Oregon this weekend. What if Lincoln Riley took a credibility hit? Another hypothetical question. His next hire is going to make or break him. That's how I'm kind of looking at it right now. He hasn't been a head coach that long, but he's been a head coach long enough now where people are starting to say, hey, great offensive mind, great offensive coordinator, has the potential to be a good head coach, but does he know enough about defense? Remember, this is what Lincoln Riley said about Alex Grinch and why he kept him after USC's 11-3 season last year. I know what he's made of. I know what's getting ready to happen defensively. And so I just have a confidence and a belief there, not just in Alex, but the other guys in the room. I've been through it enough with that guy to know don't bet against him. You were confident that Grinch was the guy. So that's what people are going to remember. And they're going to remember what you were, looking at. And then you said those words. So your next guy has to be the guy, or people are going to start questioning your ability. And I'm talking to Coach Riley to identify coaching talent. Because I think that's the question right now. That's the credibility hit he's taking. We know that he has a great trained eye for quarterbacks or wide receivers. He needs to show that he has a better understanding of more than just reading a defense. He needs to learn how to coach with a good defense. That's where we're at with Lincoln Riley right now. So just a couple of hypothetical what ifs. Every Monday, I write a column called Monday's Morass, and it throws out a few what if scenarios coming off the past weekend. Sometimes looking ahead. So when you're done watching this episode, head on over to wearesc.com. You're going to like a lot of the written content we've got up there. Trust me, a lot of it. And a lot of it covering the whole Alex Grinch firing, what's going to happen next, the Washington game, the Oregon game. But you come here to Locked on USC first every day. Trojan fans, I need you to stop stressing out trying to get tickets. Download the Game Time app. It's really easy. They've got these killer deals on last minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing out over tickets and start getting hyped for all the fun you're going to have. Trojan fans, if you're still on the bandwagon, Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Oh, by the way, USC's last home game of the year, UCLA, that game sold out. Head on over to Game Time if you need a ticket. You're going to be able to get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, a lot. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. And if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. That's why they're the fastest growing ticket app in the country for a reason. And you're going to know where you're sitting before you get there. You can have images of your seat before you buy, and that way you know there's no stress involved. And it takes you like seconds, 2 taps, and you're done. Tickets are sent directly to your phone. You're not going to search through your email. It makes it really easy to use the Game Time app. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege, and you're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCollege, and you're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Let me remind everybody what Caleb Williams said after USC's last game against the Washington Huskies, the loss at home. Quote, I'm going to go home, I'm going to cuddle with my dog and watch some shows. That was Caleb Williams' reaction after the Trojans lost to Washington 52-42 in front of a sellout crowd. You can see on the rundown here, I've asked the question, are the players pissed off? Look, Caleb's answer, going home, cuddling up with the dog, under the blankets, watching some shows. I felt like that a few times in my life. I've lost a girlfriend. That's a great answer when that happens. Not so much after your team just lost its third big game out of 3 big game opportunities. That's not the answer you want to be going out there with. And let me be perfectly clear here. I know a lot of you are listening challenged. Let me be perfectly clear here. Are you listening carefully? Good. I could not care any less about Caleb Williams' emotional response, that initial release when you've seen it on the internet. He's in his mom's arms. He's sobbing uncontrollably. I have zero issue with that. Very passionate. He was holding a lot in. That loss, that's what happens. There was a lot of weight on his shoulders. I'm only talking about the answer he gave after he had some time to shower, take a few deep breaths. That's it. That's what I'm focused on. It's not a huge gripe, by the way, but it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It just kind of felt a little tone deaf for the moment, I guess. It was definitely not pissed off. Kind of like what Riley said after the game when I asked him about the team's mindset, where he said, hopefully pissed off. That answer from Caleb didn't sound pissed off. I would have been really upset about the fact that USC's defense gave up so many that allowed so many different offensive players to upstage me as Caleb Williams. And I get it. He can't throw his teammates under the bus, especially the 5 or 6 that were up there on the stage with him. But still, you would think that Caleb's answer would have been a little bit different than just going to curl up under the blanket, make it all go away. Like I said, I know he can't, but you're standing up there with 5, 6 teammates on the dais. You got to sound a little bit tougher than that. Look, I just don't want to hear sarcasm. And if I'm Caleb Bullock and Mason Cobb, I definitely don't want to hear that answer. That's not going to elicit any type of smile from me. As a defender on this team, if I'm one of those 2 guys, I already feel like crap. I don't need to hear that kind of sarcasm. Here's why Caleb Williams and every single player in that locker room this week should be upset. It's because Washington's running back, Dylan Johnson, who had never gained more than 100 yards in any game in his career, he ended up rushing for over 260 yards and 4 touchdowns. And if that doesn't piss off Caleb Williams and his teammates, imagine if those guys weren't aware that Dylan Johnson gained 199 of those 260 plus yards before anyone had touched him. Remember USC's team motto from the spring, the offseason, leading up to the season? The longer it goes, the better we get. Yeah. How much did that really mean? How much did the team really believe in it? Why am I asking that question? This is what Dylan Johnson said after the game. They were slowing down. They weren't pressing as much as we thought they would. It made our day kind of easy. Yeah. No. I'm not sure how much of Dylan's answer Riley thought about when he got home late Saturday after the game, or if he took any of that into consideration when he finally made his decision to relieve Alex Grinch of his duties. But again, I really hope everybody is pissed off in that locker room. I also hope they come out pissed off on Saturday night and they're not embarrassed. I'll say it again. The Trojans are 2 touchdown underdogs. USC's offense is a 2 touchdown underdog because of USC's defense this year. Yeah, they better be. You can see it in the rundown. PO'd. Because USC should never be a 2 touchdown underdog. Ever. To anybody. Not even an Alabama or a Georgia. I don't care who the program is. USC should never be a 2 touchdown underdog. That should piss them off. You know what? We're going to end the show on a happy note. And I know you guys don't like to talk about basketball a lot, so that's why I held it to the end of the show. But we are going to start talking about hoops because the football season's almost over. Your USC men's hoops team started their season this Monday night in Las Vegas, and they won. They beat Kansas State 82-69. Kansas State made it to the Elite Eight last year. So this is a really good, solid win out of the box. Real quick, just a few notes. USC led 40-30 at halftime. So they were very consistent offensively and defensively, if you think about it. 40 points in the first half, 42 in the second half. Team still can't rebound very well. That's an Achilles heel. They better get that fixed. Isaiah Collier, super freshman, number 1 player in the country coming out of high school. USC got him. He's the real deal. 6'5", 200+ pounds, point guard. 18 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists in his college debut. Oh, and he did that on 7 of 9 shooting from the field. He also fouled out. That's okay. He'll learn. Boogie had a pretty good game. Not bad. 24 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. That'll get it done. Kobe Johnson, 16 points, 8 rebounds, 4 steals. He's one of the top defenders. Yep. And I would be remiss. I got to bring up the women of Troy. They got a big win too. They beat the Ohio State Buckeyes. So there you go. UCLA football, a little bit of a struggle. USC basketball, off to a great start. I'll be back with another episode of Locked on USC tomorrow. That's what we do. So until then, everybody, you know what to do.